all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey everybody, how you doing? My apologies for being late. Ended up having to leave at the last minute and came back late. Thanos, where's the comment? I don't even know where it is anymore. Where? It's somewhere. Can I find it again? Because Thanos had jokes. Thanos, Unc said don't talk about his wife like that. That was funny though. But thank you for kicking off the contribution. Chris B said, "Piece of the family, Candace Owens will never be Mrs. Cartwright. She got a better chance of being Bill Cartwright." That's wrong. That's actually wrong. Thank you, Miss Celine said, "Regardless of how thin, how cute, and how feminine these divestors portray themselves, they still aren't Mrs. Cartwright." They are not. They are not. Hey, sweetheart, how you doing, BJ? Long time no see. How you doing, sweetheart? I hope everything is good. Okay. So I wanted to talk about Candace Owens not being Mrs. Cartwright. Do I feel sorry for her? I said I ain't feel sorry for her. No, she made this bed, so she has to lay in it. She made her own bed, and nobody tell her to do all this. Nobody told her to try to cast her lot with these people. Nobody told her to do that. Nobody at all. She did. She cast her lot with these people on her own because she thought she thought she could be Mrs. Cartwright. And she is not. She is not. Let me see. Because I'm gonna eventually show you what I've been kind of saying here. These people that she cast her lot with prove to you that you're not Mrs. Cartwright. They gonna squad up and they're gonna get on code with each other. I don't care what kind of family you thought you were with them, what kind of friends you thought. I don't care how long you rocked. I don't care how many times y'all ate in each other's kitchens. I don't care how many functions you was invited to. I don't even care if one of them was the godparent of your child, which you will see. They are not going to stick their neck out. Not long enough for it to get cut. Not for you. Not for you. From her husband, who has not made any statement at all, public or otherwise, that we know about, to her co-workers dragging her through the media or acting like they don't know what's going on. Ben Shapiro running around here acting like he don't know what's going on. He is acting like he just he don't have nothing to do with it. that it is above him now. Okay? It is above him. He is not, it don't have nothing to do with him. He don't have nothing to say. She talked a little bit about some of her background, how she kind of got to where she is now in terms of being a political commentator and being on the Daily Wire. When she did her interview with the Breakfast Club, which was right before the news dropped that she had gotten let go from the Daily Wire network. And we're going to listen to a little bit of her. The interview's like 25 minutes, almost 30 minutes or something like that long. The interview itself, well, actually the interview itself is a little bit longer than I thought it was. I thought it was shorter than that, but it's like almost an hour. Okay. And we're going to take a little bit of a look and a listen to the things that she say. Nah, you good, name block, because I was late. So we're going to take a little bit of a look and a listen to how she kind of characterizes her coming up. She talks about how she was raised in White Plains, New York. And she talked about how she was bullied in school and how the nature of the bullying was racial. It was racist bullying. And then you'll hear her sort of give a pass to it. It's a sad case. It's a sad case, yet I don't feel sad about it, if that makes sense. That makes sense. She not Mrs. Cartwright. No matter who she married and no matter how she surrounded herself with those people that she felt the closest in ideology with. And I'm going to need Black people to do a couple of things for me. When we talk about racism, I need y'all to not get emotional about that. White survivalism or white supremacy, whichever word you want to use, I like survivalism, is not an emotional thing for us. We do not need to be emotional or to feel upset whenever we encounter any facet of this. We have been in this country, us and our ancestors have been in this country hundreds of years. The climate in that regard has never truly shifted. So therefore, I don't know why we keep getting upset over the same thing over and over and over. That racism. Why we keep getting? How you get surprised over the same thing over and over? What is we, a Looney Tunes cartoon? You get upset over the same thing over and over and over. So what I'm gonna do is the first thing I want to focus on is the lack of support that she's getting. I'm going to share a video. Hopefully, this individual doesn't mind. This is a person named Mark Dice. I'd never seen his content before. This particular video popped up on my timeline just because the whole Candace thing is going crazy. And I watched this video, and it was actually quite interesting. So here on the screen, this is the person who's making the content. This right here, we understand, is Matt Walsh, who's also a part of the Daily Wire. He says nothing. They shut Matt Walsh down. Before I get into this, I saw a Twitter clip, a clip on Twitter, where Matt actually was taking the same stance on the issues overseas in the Middle East that Candace was taking. Like, why aren't we just focused on America? Why like it's gotten to the point? His assertion was, why is it to the point of patriotism or not? Like, you're not really American if you're not pro Israel. Like, why are we taking it that far? Like, that's going too far. People, you know what I'm saying? We're Americans. So why are we so beholden to a foreign country? I don't care if it is a country. And guess who had a whole bunch of pushback for that? Mr. Ben Shapiro himself had a whole lot of pushback for Matt, and they shut Matt down. Matt didn't say nothing else about that because he saw the writing on the wall real quick. Like, oh, I may be Mr. Cartwright, but I ain't Mr. Cartenstein. That's who I'm not. Matt Walsh was like, I'm Mr. Cartwright, but I'm probably not Mr. Cartenstein. I done realized I ain't Mr. Cartenstein. And once he realized he wasn't Mr. Cartenstein, he said, well, let me go ahead and sit down. You know, I'm gonna talk about my little gender things, and we're gonna talk about the, you know, the documentary, What is a Woman? You know, we're gonna talk about that. And I'm gonna leave that alone because I am not Mr. Cartenstein. Okay. And he was like, okay. He found out real quick what side of the bread the butter was on, baby. Yes, Mr. Cartenstein, baby. He was like, oh, baby, no. I'm Mr. Cartwright, but I don't know. These little Cartensteins is on another level. Candace realized that not only is she not Mrs. Cartwright or Mrs. Cartenstein, you're in a level below them. Don't care who you married. I want to show you something, though. I want to show you. And it's just going to be a few moments. And I just want to, it's a very quick little thing here. Here we go.
2 hours without posting their 2 cents over there about any particular topic. And of course, on his show yesterday, he completely avoided the elephant in the room and just stuck to talking about gender issues. Michael Knowles did his best to keep his job and his millions of dollars that the Daily Wire is paying him, while at the same time, at least, well, saying something about the situation, which you'll see, I'll play the clip in just a moment, is sad and pathetic. He is in a tough spot because not only does he want to keep his job over there and his millions of dollars, but he also is very good friends with Candace Owens' husband and the godfather to one of her children. So he felt his conscience was eating him away. And so he had to say something. And this was his statement.
Access is sound great. Yeah, this news just broke about, I don't know, an hour or two before the show started this morning. So Candace has parted ways with the Daily Wire. I forget how exactly they phrased it.
In the most pathetic way possible, with one tweet from Jeremy Boring, and then that was only retweeted by Ben Shapiro, so that there would be literally no statement that could be attributed to Ben about it.
I think Jeremy announced it on his Twitter and said the Daily Wire and Candace have ended their relationship. So I don't have some grand statement to make about that. I don't think it's my place as a host on this network to make some grand statement about it. You know, because this is a very personal business and a personal company, a particularly personal company.
Which is why we would think that you would express sadness about your own company engaging in cancel culture.
You know the relationships already. You know that I am a close personal friend of Candace and the godfather to her daughter. Her husband, George, is one of my best friends. And you know that I've been at the Daily Wire for a very long time, since the very early days. You know, Jeremy Boring is one of my best friends. Even Ben, I'm willing to admit in a moment of candor, is a longtime friend of mine, as are Caleb and all the other people around here. So, you know, always unfortunate when people go their separate ways, and that's life, I suppose. But that's really all I have to say about it. You know, I don't
appreciate you asking me this question. You think I'm going to bite the hand that feeds me?
If you were hoping for some grand, you know, epic speech on the future of media and the industry, I don't really have that.
Which is why people tune into me, your trusted independent media analyst. Just a guy.
Did y'all hear that pathetic? Did y'all hear that pathetic? Excuse for mentioning it. This is supposed to be a woman whose husband you are best friends with, to such an extent that they allowed you to be godparent, godfather to one of their children. That's close. You don't just put that with anybody. You put that with close people. You put that with people that's got your back. You put that with people who you consider to be family more so. And then he goes on to talk about how he's good friends even with Ben Shapiro, and he's good friends with Jeremy Boring, the CEO of Daily Wire. And, you know, it's just a tough spot. I bet it is a tough spot. It's a tough spot when you're called upon to say what is right at the possible expense of the food in your belly. Because those are substantial checks. Which they probably gonna have to say goodbye to a certain extent anyway, because good, bad, or indifferent, whether you liked it or not, Candace was the draw for Daily Wire. Candace, and to a little bit lesser extent, Ben, were the draw. They chose Ben over Candace. Nobody tunes in to see these other people. Nobody wants to hear Matt Walsh talk all day. Who wants to hear Matt Walsh talk? His documentary was mildly entertaining and it was somewhat educational and informative, but who really wants to listen to him talk? He's not dynamic. He don't got the it factor for being on camera, and whether you like her or not, Candace does. But these are the types of defenses, little to none, that she's getting from a person that's probably been in her home multiple times, that has eaten her food, that has played with her children. told her how much she's a sister to him or something. How wonderful it is, to have her in the family and in the group and how wonderful of a person she is and right? And now when it comes to the sticking point, when it comes to stick up for me because I didn't do anything wrong, but I got canned. And now I'm getting dragged by the same people who was just kicking it with me 2 weeks ago. All over social media talking crazy on my name. And Black women swear to God that white men is better protectors of them than Black men. When it's Black men that are giving her at least somewhat of a platform to come speak her piece to Black people, i.e. the Breakfast Club, i.e. Joe Budden. Fresh and Fit is kind of on the fringes of that because one of them is African, the other one is, I think he's Haitian or he's West Indian. I'm not sure. Neither of them are American Black, and their platform is not it never really centers on race or anything like that. They got a whole different thing going on. And they're going to let her on these platforms. Okay, y'all saying he's from Barbados. And I knew he was from one of the islands or something. Thank you. She's not Mrs. Cartwright or Mrs. Cartenstein. Somebody brought up in the chat, I'm not sure, but it scrolled past me. And I meant to click it, but I didn't. Saying, what is this Miss Cartwright stuff? And do I have the same smoke for Serena? None of these women, let me say this. None of these chicks, none of these Black chicks, I don't care who she is or who she has been or who she want to be. Ultimately, they want to be Mrs. Cartwright. And this is why they get with these white men. They're not getting with these white men because they just happen to fall in love and he just happened to be white. See, trying to be Mrs. Cartwright. And for those of you who do not understand that reference, I'm speaking about the character that Sanaa Lathan played in The Family That Prays. Her character was having an affair with her boss, whose name was Mr. Cartwright, who was married to a white woman. And she wanted to be Mrs. Cartwright so bad. She was treating her husband bad. She was cheating on him with that man. And when all the chips fell down, this is why the analogy is so appropriate. When all the chips fell at the end of that movie, when he had to get himself together and get his life back together with his wife and get all that, he chose his wife, the white woman, the real Mrs. Cartwright, who actually had a conversation with that character that Sanaa played and told her, you'll never be Mrs. Cartwright. You'll never be me. You'll never be me. You've been having your little affair with him, and that's nice for you. But you're not me. You're not his wife. You're not held to the same esteem as me. So you can come be his little concubine, his little piece of butt, all you want to in this hotel room. But when the chips fall, when all the chips fall down, I'm Mrs. Cartwright and you not. And she wasn't. When it was time for, he had gave her a car and this and that, he took the car back. She lost that job, all that little status, all that little extra money she was getting, all them little affairs and little trysts she was having with Mr. Cartwright and rubbing her husband's face in it and all of that went away. He had to come crawling back to your black husband, whom you had dishonored and disregarded the whole entire time, and disrespected and emasculated. That's why the analogy is so prominent. She's not Mrs. Cartwright. All them chicks, not Mrs. Cartwright. Olivia Pope, not Mrs. Cartwright. That character from Scandal. And none of the women in real life, even if you mixed, even the Halle Berrys of the world is not Mrs. Cartwright. And she's a mixed woman. Regarded long as one of the sexiest women, Eartha Kitt, was also not Mrs. Cartwright. I had a clip of her crying about how didn't no man want her. And how many people was on Eartha Kitt's jock when she was young? She was the first black Catwoman. Told her, ate the role up. I love the Catwoman. Diane Carroll. She was old and crying about him, and nobody want her. Not Mrs. Cartwright. All around in white men, and never Mrs. Cartwright. Never was Mrs. Cartwright. That go for Serena. That go for all of them. I have not one time seen any of these white husbands come to the public defense of their black wives. I have not seen that. If somebody has seen that in recent history, please let me know. I have not seen these white men that they lay up, they marry them, they have children with them, whole families with them, whole dynasties with them. And when them black women get into trouble, them white men do not be nowhere to be seen. They don't be nowhere to be seen. They act like she on her own with that. She on her own with that. And they swear to God, black men don't protect them. That black men don't care about them. That black men don't treat them half as well, nearly as well, as what a white man is going to treat them. The Ketanji Brown Jacksons, isn't that her name? The Supreme Court judge that got appointed, 2 years ago or something like that? She got her a white man. She ain't Mrs. Cartwright either. Something going. If there's ever a scandal, I bet your bottom dollar that white man ain't gonna come stand in front of her and take no hits and say, "Leave my woman alone." Let Kamala Harris get into anything, some type of scandal, and she needs some type of defense. I wonder her white husband gonna come and take up anything. But she swear to God, she wasn't black. Her daddy Jamaican, and she ain't black. This is the whole point of me saying you're not Mrs. Cartwright. Thank you. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg is not Mrs. Cartwright. She was married to Ted Danson for many years. She got married a couple of times, I do believe, but all on white men. She ain't Mrs. Cartwright either. Where's her white husband? Where's Whoopi Goldberg's white husband? She gave all. Where's her husband? And when they do side with a woman, what they looking at What white men are looking at is being ostracized, ousted from their own group. Prince Harry, married to Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle, his mother is black. Her father is white. She's very, very remotely biologically in the royal family. Married to her. He had to choose because she wouldn't toe the company line. You want to be princess and all this other. It's stuff that go with that. It's all that glitz and glam. That's just on the face of it. It's a whole bunch of foolishness that go behind them scenes. It's foolishness behind the scenes. She wasn't ready for all of the foolishness that go on behind there, and how you got to toe the line, and how you can't do this and can't do that, and can't say this and can't say that, and you can't go here and you can't go there, and you can't. She thought she was going to actually be some type of Disney princess where she get to go through the castle all day and look cute. Baby, that ain't how that worked. And she wasn't cut out for it. And she thought she was going to have a real marriage with that man. Had that little baby, and then nobody want to deal with the little baby because he's too much black in him. Nobody wanted to deal with that baby. That baby got too much melanin in him. No matter that her father's white and she married a white man, so that baby is white. That don't mean nothing to them. The baby got the curl pattern a little too tight, and he got a little bit too much melanin in him. And he chose to try to have an actual marriage with that woman. And they told him, go ahead on, boy. Go ahead on, boy. You with us in name only. Go on. You take your little money, whatever little money your mama left and all that kind of stuff, and go ahead on. Until you figure out what side of the fence you really fall on, you go be over there. Go be over there with your little negress then, and your little Negro babies. You go over there with your little darky babies and your darky. And he ain't gonna be welcome back until she either figure it out and toe that line, or he leave her. See, they didn't do William like that. William married a white woman. William married Mrs. Cartwright, K. Bennington. Y'all think it's what y'all think this is? These folks is not playing. This is why white men don't go all out to protect their wives when the wives are black and the wife get into trouble and the wife try to make, or it's a situation where he needs to choose. Now, any man usually would choose their family to protect and to stand by and to support. They'll do it up to a point. But the line that they don't like to cross is doing it to such a degree that everything else gets cut off, and they're no longer Mr. Cartwright. They're not regarded as a full-blooded Mr. Cartwright. They don't like that. Why should I not be fully Mr. Cartwright? It's a slight punishment. Because they will accept white men being with black women more than they will accept white women being with black men. I need y'all to understand that. Who do y'all realize the reason for that? Okay. Miscegenation law was put in place to keep black men and white women from being together as a couple. White men have always had access to black women in this country. Whether she was regarded as an animal, less than human, subhuman, it didn't matter. Slave, it didn't matter. She was a woman, and he owned her, and he had access to her. And he's always had access to her, but she's not Mrs. Cartwright, though. The purpose is genetics. The reason why is genetic. It's not about love. It's not about that. It's genetic. They will accept the children that they have with them in wedlock and stuff like that, because it is more likely that those children will marry white. They'll have white spouses. And the children that come from that are going to be white. However, they will have received a genetic boost. This is why it's white survivalism. Because it is about culture, but more importantly, it is about biology and genetic survival. It has always been about that. It has never not been about that. No matter however else it has played out and whatever other events have surrounded colonization and things of that nature, at the root of it has always been genetic survival. And if you don't know that, read up on Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's iconic book, The ISIS Papers. It'll tell you everything that you need to know. Because if you understand that point, other things make sense. This is why I don't like it when we as Black people get caught up in the emotionalism of it. It's not emotional. For them, it's not emotional. It's purely genetic. It's cultural and biological. It's cultural and biological. They know who we are. We don't know who we are. I'm almost going off what I really want to talk, because I wanted to circle back around to the Breakfast Club interview and things of that nature. But this is important. This is an important piece. I don't like it when we get emotional about this. It is not emotional. It is not. This is why sometimes I'll talk about Trump. I know it triggers people. I know that some of my supporters get triggered when I talk about Trump, or I say, well, he was funny on the Apprentice show and things of that nature. I want my listeners to understand that we should not be emotional about that. So what if he is the R word? So what? So, well, we don't want him in office because he's the R word. And my counterpoint has always been, which one wasn't? And why are we surprised by any of it? Why is this a shock? Mad. That's the one thing that I actually agree with Candace about. That the media told Black people to feel more emotional about who Trump was and who he is and him being the R word and all that kind of stuff than we need to be. It's not necessary. Trump has always been the same person. And Black people liked Trump. We liked him culturally, like what he represented, a rich, wealthy, you know what I'm saying? He was in all the rap lyrics. I think he was in at some point in some type of video or something a long time ago. Like, we liked him. Do you understand? We didn't have nothing against him. He always been the same person. If you watched Apprentice, if you watched the Apprentice show that he used to host, none of his speeches should surprise you. If you watched Apprentice, none of what Trump says should surprise you. How he act, how he respond to stuff, the things that he say, you shouldn't be surprised by it. Whether you agree with it or like it or not, it shouldn't surprise you. It don't surprise me. Even when I don't like what he's saying, I'm not surprised by it. And this is why I bring it up. See, I'm very careful to say, not to say support him, don't support him. He should be the president. He shouldn't be the president. I'm not even talking about whether or not he should be the president. My point is that as a group of Black people, even if he is the R word, why are we mad at him about that? Why are we mad about that? Are we mad about all the other politicians that are definitely the R word? That's why I keep saying come out of the emotional part of it. There's nothing to be emotional about. Because when they do things, they're not moving. And this is why they stay a step ahead. I'm going to go to a commercial break, but I'm going to tell y'all why they stay a step ahead of us is because they remove the emotion out of what they do. And they go about things in a very pragmatic way. And that's how they're able to do what they do efficiently. We get too caught in the emotion of a thing. Oh, well, it was wrong. We know it's wrong. We know that already. We know that's not the question. We know racism is wrong. We know that. We know that. How long have we been in this country? How long has it been racist? How long has there ever been in the history of this particular country no racism, particularly against us? When has it happened? When has it happened? That's why Black people didn't like the slogan of "Make America Great Again," because we was like, wait a minute, when was America great for us though? Precisely. So if we know that, if we know that there has always been that system in existence here, then why are we continuing to be surprised and continue to be, oh my God, they doing what they always been doing for the last, come on. They've been doing the same thing hundreds of years, and we keep getting surprised by it every decade. The whole reason why we understand that Candace got a Negro wake-up call is because we know that it's never gone. We know that it's never gone. We know that. No matter what face they put on, we know it's never gone. We know that the system is the system, no matter who's at the helm of it. Because people trying to be like, oh, well, we got to put somebody else in there. There will be, listen, let me tell y'all something. There will be no president that's not going to go according to that script. There will be no president that is going to get in there and do anything that even slightly dismantles white supremacy. Do you understand that? I don't know. We got to keep him out of there because what? Because another president is going to enact policy that do what? When we going to stop looking for this country to right that wrong? I know I'm supposed to go on a commercial break. When are we going to stop looking for the politicians of this country to right that wrong? Do it look like they interested in writing it? Do it look like they interested in the moral implications Has it ever looked like that? Have they ever, they've had so many opportunities to right a wrong. Reconstruction was the time to right that wrong. And instead of righting the wrong, what did they do? They pushed an entire lost cause narrative that gave birth to the lost value system. That's what they did. I got a whole playlist about the lost cause. I see I'm gonna have to go back over it. The perfect time to address it was Reconstruction, and they did not do it. They refused to do it, as a matter of fact. They implemented another system that could take the place of the actual chattel slavery, that they can maintain power. That's when the system of white survivalism was created in Reconstruction. It was created in Reconstruction. It was legislated in Reconstruction. It was formed biologically, culturally, and environmentally during Reconstruction. So why do we keep on thinking that somehow, some way, that somebody in this government is going to say, "Oh, you know what? We really have been doing these people wrong. We need to right that wrong." They're not going to do that. We got to stop looking to them people to figure out that it was. They know it was wrong. Y'all trying to run around here thinking they don't know that was wrong. Yes, they do. Well, they've been trying to tell you for hundreds of years. They're not sorry for that. Hmm. They not sorry. Okay? They don't regret it. They not sorry. They don't lose no sleep at night. Are you okay? That's why they keep trying to tell us to move on. The reason why they want us to move on from it is because we're not gonna get no closure from them. That's what they trying to tell you. We not sorry. We did what we did. We not sorry. We not gonna apologize through word. We're not gonna apologize through legislation. We're not gonna apologize through reparation. We're not apologizing for that. Okay. That's why I be saying they're not gonna do reparations, not because it's not the morally correct thing to do, but since when have they been working on the moral code? They work on legal and illegal, not right and wrong. Huh? They are not working on right and wrong. They are working on legal and illegal. Not worried about no right. They're not worried about that. Not worried about wronging you. Who are you? They don't think nothing of you. That's why they're not sorry. Because you mean nothing to them. As far as they concerned, they did not do any wrong to anybody. Because who are you? You're not even human. So do you wrong how? We set you free. Be good for that. Be glad you're not on a plantation. Oh well. That's the mindset. This is why I talk about the value system, because it's up to us to get past it. It's up to us to understand biology, culture, and environment so that we can implement our own bioculture and get set on a correct value system. That's why I talk about that. Because they aren't going to do that. There's no benefit in them helping us in that way. None. There's no benefit. What benefit do they have in giving us reparations? What benefit do they have in saying the right thing? What benefit is it for them? None. None. They've never been interested in giving us benefit. We have to create our own benefit. This is why I'll go through the whole thing with the racism, but then I also don't use it as a crutch, because we have to make those changes, not them. We have to make these changes. We have to understand how the world works. They already know. That's how they can manipulate it the way that they do. I need to do this commercial break. After these messages, we'll be right back, because I need everybody to, this is heavy. And I think the reason why it, you know what, let me do the, everybody go to ashkicking.com and get your body butter. Keep your skin looking smooth and wonderful and smelling so good with this wonderful silky body butter. Y'all are going to love it. Go to ashkicking.com, pick up your order. If this is going to be your first order, then you need to take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson when you make your order at checkout. Once again, go to ashkicking.com and get your order today. I want to make sure that this is pinned to the top. Are my mods able to pin? Because I can't quite get to, I don't know what's going on with. But are my mods able to pin? I'm not able to pin right now. Okay, they didn't give y'all pin status. I would have thought that you would have been able to pin, because for whatever reason, it's not letting me do it. It's been acting crazy. Okay, wait. There we go. It allowed me to do it now. I don't know why they wouldn't allow it. But anyway, the link is at the top of the chat. Don't know how many likes I need, but I owe y'all a bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button. Bam, bam. You got to Okay. Let me get to these super chats as well. Thank you, Ramel, for your contribution. Thank you, Real Bravado. Said Matt has very interesting takes, but I'm just showing some drive-by support. By the way, great job on This Might Be Risky. I enjoyed that conversation, and thank you so much. Thank you so much, Barry, for your super sticker. Thank you, Mogul, as well. Thank you, Jay, the Light Seeker. Said, if you're the only Black person in your organization, you must be prepared for the BS. You can fight it or have an exit strategy plan, but don't be naive to think you're the exception or a Cartwright. Exactly. Thank you, Miss Celine. So I fell asleep listening to the Daily Wire outside of Brett Cooper. And thank you once again, Miss Celine. Said, mixed women with whiter dads in white neighborhoods aren't Mrs. Cartwright either. And I know that. They're gonna have to completely pass as white women, like where you can't suspect it. But if they come to know that your mother was Black, or you know what, there's a blight, your status as Mrs. Cartwright shall be revoked. We thought you was Mrs. Cartwright, girl. If you don't get out of here. But you're right. Thank you, Chrissy G, for your super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Miss Beshua. Said, although they tried, neither the pink pill nor her followers will ever be Mrs. Cartwright. None of them. None of them. All them over there on divest the Twitter and divest the YouTube, they ain't Miss Cartwright either. Thank you again, Miss Celine. I'm a huge fan of The Crown on Netflix. I've never watched that. Thank you, Timothy Blewett said the white husband will remain silent in the black background when his black spouse is under attack. These are the same women who accuse black men of not protecting them. Thank you, Miss Celine, again. So the most basic white woman has more value to white men lined up next to the most amazing, beautiful black woman simply on a genetic standpoint. Exactly. Thank you, Common. Said that's why Biden is letting all those Hispanics into the country unchecked because of their skin color. Biden is trying to keep America white. That's also why they get white privilege. Now, I've been said that the path of white is going to be open to them. That's the whole point of that. Thank you, Real Bravado. Say every single component of the civil rights legislation was signed into law by a racist president. Exactly. Thank you, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. I'm giving Candace Owens grace because of the people who have come for her, regardless of her conservative, anti-black, destruction culture stance. The people that came for her are more of our adversaries. They are. I'm gonna come back to that in a second. Thank you, Common Man. So not one single illegal migrant person of African descent has committed a crime, but are the most focused on as illegals. Yet they say Biden isn't racist. It's in our faces and we won't see it. Thank you so much, Carl, for president, for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Thank you once again, Miss Beshua says, from the ending of Reconstruction to even the migrants of this day, the country has shown that we are second-class citizens to them and that their success is tied to our failures. Thank you. Thank you, LII. Please say if I'm saying that right, if that's what you mean by your name. So every time you get on this topic, you make the Swirler community log off and vacation off the internet for a while. Yeah, because they know they ain't Miss Cartwright. Thank you, Julius. Said the one thing I noticed about Candace is that she never debates people like Dr. Tia San or Dr. Claude Anderson or Boyce Watkins or Dr. Umar or Dr. Cornell West. Thank you, Timestamps, and Mr. Neely Fuller Jr.'s book, The Independent Compensatory Counter Racist Code, saved my life. Thank you, Bo Anderson. Said, please let these women know that Mr. Cartwright cards are officially revoked. I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to tell you why I've not really given Candace any grace. Put a 1 in the chat if you watched Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, the third one in that trilogy, the most recent trilogy. Put a 1 in the chat if you watched that movie. I might have to start doing movie breakdowns on members only. Do you remember the donkeys, the apes and gorillas that were working with the humans? Do you remember them? The humans were the bigger threat to Caesar and his tribe. They were the greatest adversary. But the donkeys caught it because they was helping. You helped my enemies against me. And you knew what you were doing when you did that. You weren't doing that under any guise of misunderstanding or anything. You purposely and willingly went over here and you helped them. You helped them track us down. You helped them delete us. You help us capture us. You help us put them in slavery. All that kinds. You help them. You the first to get it. I'm gonna get you first. Before I get to them, I'm gonna get you first. Because you shouldn't have been over here helping. You almost a bigger part of the problem. Because they wouldn't have got far as they got without you. Wouldn't have been able to bomb where we was without you. Wouldn't have been able to attacking off my family without you. So you get it first. That's why Candace is getting it first. I gave her all the props I was going to give her by saying which parts that I agree with her with. And that's the buck stops there. She chose her side. She made her bed. Now she got to lay in it. And she got to lay on a bed of sharp little hats. Sharp topped little hats. They done put little spikes on the top of them little hats. And now she got to lay in it. Oh, well. And I'm not trying to come at the brother. I'm just saying this in general. They done laid down a gauntlet of spiky little hats, and now she got to lay on them. Oh, well. Don't be sorry. Be careful. And thank you, marriage. And please don't take that as me trying to come at you or anything. I just wanted to utilize what you said in order to make a more general statement. So that was not directed at you personally or anything like that. So thank you very much. But I'm going to get on out of here. Jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.